Los Angeles, the city of dreams, sunshine, and profitable Olympics? Yep, you heard that right. Back in 1984, LA didn't just host the Olympic Games. It made history by turning a profit, a feat no other city has managed since. But how did they do it? And more importantly, as LA gears up to host the 2028 Olympics, what lessons from the past are being put into play today? 1984 wasn't LA's first rodeo with the Olympics, but it was. They cracked the code to make the Games not just a global spectacle, but a financial success. From smart use of existing venues to securing major corporate sponsorships, LA pulled off something remarkable. Now, as we look ahead to 2028, the City of Angels is once again poised to turn the Olympics into a winning formula. With a solid plan to leverage existing infrastructure and a budget-conscious approach, LA aims to make history repeat itself. But will they pull it off? The Olympics, a celebration of global athletic excellence, where nations come together to compete on the world stage. But behind the glitz and glamour, there's a harsh reality that many host cities face. While the Games are hailed as the pinnacle of international sports, the financial aftermath is often far from golden. Over the years, the price tag for hosting the Olympics has soared, leaving many cities grappling with mountains of debt. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics, a global event that became a prime example of the financial pitfalls of hosting the Games. Postponed until 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this delay alone tacked on an estimated $3 billion to the already staggering costs. But the financial hit didn't stop there. With stadiums left empty and tourism at a standstill, Japan's economy took a blow of approximately $1.3 billion. And while the pandemic amplified these issues, it wasn't the root of the problem. The truth is that the Olympics have been a financial challenge for decades. According to research from Oxford, not a single Olympic Games since 1960 has stayed within its original budget. On average, costs exceed estimates by a staggering 172%, making the Olympics one of the most financially risky megaprojects in the world. Take a look at the 2012 London Summer Games, which started with a modest budget of $5 billion, but ballooned to a staggering $18 billion. And then there's the 2014 Sochi Winter Games, the priciest Olympics in history, where costs skyrocketed from $10.3 billion to a jaw-dropping $51 billion. But budget overruns are just the beginning of the financial headache. The real challenge is recouping those colossal expenses. Beijing, for instance, shelled out $40 billion to host the 2008 Olympics, but saw a return of just $3.6 billion. Similarly, London's 2012 Games cost $18 billion, yet only brought in $5.2 billion in revenue. The Olympics are often sold as a golden ticket to long-term economic prosperity for host cities, with promises of job creation and a boom in tourism. But the reality? It's often a different story. While the Games do create jobs, many of them are temporary, disappearing as soon as the closing ceremony ends. And that surge in tourism, it doesn't always happen. Tourism can sometimes decline in the years following the Olympics, leaving cities wondering where the crowds went. Then there's the issue of infrastructure. Those shiny new facilities, promised as lasting legacies, often turn into financial burdens. The cost of maintaining venues, especially those built for niche sports that rarely see use after the Games, can weigh heavily on a city's budget. And now, enter Los Angeles, a city that made Olympic history in 1984. Unlike most modern Olympics, the LA Games didn't just break even. They turned a profit, raking in over $200 million in surplus. How did they pull off this rare feat? By keeping costs low, utilizing existing venues, and securing crucial corporate sponsorships. It was a game-changing approach that set a new standard for how to host the Olympics successfully. Fast forward to today, and many believe that LA's triumph in 1984 is why the city is more than ready for the 2028 Olympics. With a wealth of existing infrastructure and a proven track record, LA is poised to deliver another well-run and potentially profitable event without the need for massive new construction. LA organizers have set a budget of $688 billion for the 2028 Games. But will they manage to stick to it? Realistically, probably not, but there are some strong reasons to believe they might get close. Typically, constructing Olympic-specific infrastructure like stadiums can eat up nearly half, or even more, of the entire budget. But here's where LA has a significant edge. Los Angeles already boasts some of the best sports infrastructure in the world, which means the city won't need to invest heavily in new construction. This existing setup will play a crucial role in keeping costs under control. Here's the game plan for the 2028 Olympics, as of 2024. Downtown LA's Crypto.com Arena, the home court for the Lakers, Kings, and Sparks, will set the stage for the gymnastics events. Just a short drive away in Inglewood, SoFi Stadium, home to the Rams and Chargers, will be transformed into the largest Olympic swimming venue ever, with seating for 38,000 spectators. Basketball will tip off at the soon-to-be-completed Intuit Dome, the future home of the LA Clippers. Meanwhile, track and field competitions are heading to the legendary LA Memorial Coliseum, the only stadium to host these events in 3 different Olympics. Portions of both the opening and closing ceremonies will also unfold at the Coliseum and SoFi Stadium. Diving events will take place at the historic John C. Argue Swim Stadium, a venue that also hosted aquatic events back in 1932. Sepulveda Basin Recreation Center will see archery, BMX racing, freestyle cycling, and skateboarding, while the Long Beach Sports Park will host additional swimming competitions. For equestrian fans, Galway Downs in Temecula is the place to be. And, as a side note, Oklahoma City will host canoe slalom and softball, where existing venues are perfectly suited to meet the Olympic demand. While LA's sports venues are set, the real challenge and major expense lies in upgrading the city's transportation infrastructure. Enter the 28 by 28 initiative, a bold plan launched by former Mayor Eric Garcetti to complete 28 key infrastructure projects before the 2028 Olympics. Although many of these projects were already on the drawing board, they're now being fast-tracked to meet the Olympic deadline. In 2024, Mayor Karen Bass set an ambitious goal, making the Olympics car-free by encouraging public transit and remote work to ease traffic congestion. But let's be real. Everyone knows that LA without cars is like LA without palm trees and sunshine. So while the dream of a car-free Olympics might be a stretch, the efforts to improve the city's infrastructure are definitely in high gear. Funding for LA's transit upgrades is coming from Measure R and Measure M, tax increases approved by voters in 2008 and 2016. Officially, these measures had nothing to do with the Olympics, but they're playing a huge role in preparing the city for 2028. To handle the Olympic influx, LA 28 organizers predict they'll need an extra 2,700 buses, effectively doubling Metro's current fleet. Metro is already on the hunt for federal grants and is also planning to resell these buses after the games to help offset the hefty cost. Estimated between $700 million and $1 billion. It's a massive undertaking, but these transit upgrades are crucial for keeping the city moving during the games and beyond. With all these hefty costs, generating as much revenue as possible is crucial for the LA 28 Olympics. But who's behind the scenes making it all happen? The LA 28 Games are being run by a privately funded nonprofit organization, led by Casey Wasserman. This team is responsible for bringing the games to life and ensuring they're a financial success. On the global stage, the International Olympic Committee, or IOC, takes charge. This Swiss-based nonprofit oversees every Olympic Games no matter where they're hosted. So while the LA 28 team is focused on making the Games a local triumph, the IOC ensures everything meets the global standards. It's a collaborative effort aimed at delivering an unforgettable Olympic experience. When it comes to funding the Olympics, broadcasting rights are the golden ticket. Networks around the globe shell out billions for the exclusive rights to air the Games. In the US, NBC pays a hefty sum because the Olympics draw massive audiences worldwide. For instance, during the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, broadcasting rights made up nearly 73% of the total revenue. It's the biggest moneymaker in the Olympic financial playbook. Next in line is corporate sponsorship. Major global brands and local sponsors chip in big time to support the Games, making this the second largest revenue stream. Ticket sales also contribute significantly, though they don't quite match the broadcasting and sponsorship totals. This includes tickets for various events, opening and closing ceremonies, and more. Revenue can also come from licensing, merchandise, grants, and donations. And just to cover all bases, the LA28 team will invest in substantial insurance packages to handle any potential issues, from natural disasters to low attendance. All these efforts aim to keep the financial impact on LA and the US to a minimum, ensuring a successful and smooth Olympic experience. After the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics wrapped up with a stunning $200 million surplus, the money went straight into the LA84 Foundation. This organization was created to support youth sports programs across the area and has been making a difference for decades. LA's sports infrastructure has a major head start, thanks to these investments. But as we look ahead to the 2028 Olympics, the question remains, can the Games be as financially successful this time around? While the goal is to keep the financial burden off taxpayers, that might be a tall order. We can only hope that the 2028 Games will prove to be as profitable as their predecessors. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video. See you next time.